Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So let's get into this Cancerians. All right. We're going to take a look at kind of like the chapter of Cancerian's life right now. We have a Four of Wands and a Ten of Swords. So the central energy is kind of a mixed bag, and I could read this in two ways. I could either say Cancerian has perhaps had an ending of a marriage, a long-term commitment, or like what felt like a perfectly harmonized life, and then there was some shakeup. However, I could also read this as two separate events. One of the happiest, most perfectly balanced, most delightful events of Cancerian's life, and something else that has come to a close. And it could be that sometimes when things work out really well for us, that's when we kind of let go of other old past hurts because it's been eclipsed by the wonderful energy. So we could look at that in two ways. Let's see if we could sort out which it is. I'm a little bit more inclined. Eight of Cups, I'm going to say that Cancerian is walking away from something painful and life's getting really good for them right now. The Eight of Cups is when somebody walks with confidence into this new chapter of their life. They leave behind something that is old hat. It's boring, it's painful, it's stupid, it's no longer necessary. It's all the things that we don't need to relive. We leave it in the past and we move forward into this beautiful brand new horizon. So I'm going to say that Cancerian's life is getting good all of a sudden. This feels very sudden. Let's see what crosses that. Hi everyone. Hey guys. Thank you to everybody who's a night owl hanging out with me. We have a Seven of Cups sideways. By the way, right after this, I'll bounce over to the other channel and we're going to do a today's topic video. And we'll do it live tonight instead of waiting until midnight to post it. But this Seven of Cups sideways, there was a lot of option for Cancerian. The way things could have gone down, the way they could have chosen to handle something, the way the only reason things are working out so well for Cancerian is because of the way they are. They know that in any situation, we get to decide how we react. We could react by being, furious and pissed off when something goes wrong. Or we could say, well, you know what? Obviously, something that wasn't working for me, maybe I should embrace the fact that it's over so I can make space for something better. And I think that Cancerian has learned that in life. We can't necessarily control how things go in life, but we can control how we react. And that gives us our power back and that gets us on the right path again. So I'm thinking that Cancerian is pretty remarkable in the way they choose to look at some options. I don't have, but I do always have the option of how I react in a situation. I think it served them very, very well. What's pushing this forward? Nine of Swords. So I got to say, the chapter of Cancerian's life that, we have Nine of Swords and then we know it went to a Ten of Swords. There was some extremely stressful time period that Cancer is only recently out of. And I'm thinking like very recent. I'm thinking that this is a character who realized that things had been bubbling to the surface. Like it was more and more stressful, less and less, joyful, more and more tension was building. And instead of them trying to hunker down and cling to something, they said, you know what, let's let this go to the Ten of Swords. Let's let something collapse. Let's let something end because it's better than feeling like this. I don't want any more sleepless nights over this. I'd rather let something go so I can embrace something better. And I think the moment they did that, life started to get better. That's what brought them the Eight of Cups. That's what brought them the Four of Wands. Can I ask what it was, though, that was so unpleasant that has ended? It could actually have been trying to hold on to a Two of Cups relationship that, let me put it this way, Cancerian could still love somebody unconditionally. But if that person was wreaking havoc on their life, lots of people that we love have plenty of problems. And we can say, I love you, but I got to do it from a distance because you're crashing my life. Or I know that you have a good heart, but man, you can be so toxic. I can't do this. Now, the other way I could read this is that it was actually what Cancerian initially thought was a really profound and beautiful bond. And maybe it was one-sided. Maybe it was a false Two of Cups. Sometimes we can give our whole heart and we assume that the other person is doing it also, but then they keep, showing evidence that no, they're taking what we give and mirroring a little bit of that back to us, but they don't really feel it. They're not really on the same page. So I could look at it as either way. Either Cancerian says, no, I know they love me in their way and I love them too, but we were causing each other way more grief, or they were causing me way more grief than it was worth it to be together right now. This could be a relationship that can still come around, maybe on down the road when characters have grown, when life is different, when, evolution has happened. But for right now, I would say definitely the thing that is currently out of Cancerian's life is what they thought was a Two of Cups, where something went, askew. So interestingly enough, even if it's somebody Cancerian loved very much and still does, they learned you can love somebody and still say, but I can't be with you because we got problems in this mess. And this is no good. I don't want to do this. Okay, so in the recent past, we had a Nine of Pentacles. So it is very recent that Cancerian is walking through a door totally single. They could have gone to their first event, their first work event, their first potluck, their first weekend of getting together with friends, and they showed up alone. And that was the big reveal that I broke up with my supposed Two of Cups. But you know what? They walked in confident and powerful. Sorry, my baby is on patrol. He just had a really long walkie, and then he got home and he demanded a snack, had a little beverage, and then I thought he was going to settle down and go night-night. But obviously he's, rewarding me with his excellent patrol, since he's all juiced up and got a tummy full and he's all energized now. Crowning Cancerian's thoughts, they still think about what brought them to a connection that didn't turn out to be the real deal, which I think is good to reflect on things that maybe, like, did I lie to myself? How did I get tangled up with someone? Were they just someone who was a really good liar, or what were the signs that I missed? I don't think that Cancerian is dwelling on anything. I think their life is better, but they're still reflecting on the lies that we tell ourselves sometimes, or the signs that are obvious that we miss, or the things that, we tend to sweep under the rug. All right. Tell me what comes up, upcoming future. We've got a King of Wands. I knew I should have not done this one live. I just knew it. Upcoming future, we do have something much better for our Cancerian. We have a King of Wands on the horizon. This could be the place that Cancerian's heart is going to be in, or this could be somebody new that they'll meet, somebody who has a big heart, someone who has a lot of love. We have a Five of Pentacles as well, though. This, to me, starts to look like, it's not to put a damper on things, but if Cancerian's about to meet or connect with a King of Wands, what they may discover is, why didn't I meet someone like this sooner? Why didn't I make myself available for this sooner? I maybe held on a little too long to a place that wasn't satisfying, forgetting that there's better out there, forgetting that I could have met someone else more loving, more satisfying, more interwoven and interconnected to me. So I feel like Cancerian, it's not like they made a mistake. They did what they had to do for the experience that they needed to have. But it does look like they're going to recognize when they meet the next person, and the next person is maybe loving and whole and present. I do feel like Cancerian is going to have a little bit of like, damn, I should have done this a long time ago. So we definitely have the ending of an attachment to someone else who I don't think was the right person, and a new attachment going to be forming with someone that Cancerian kind of wishes that they had been able to meet before now. Let me go to the universe for just a moment and say, let's use this deck. Universe, what would you want to tell Cancerian about the fact that, they were in something for a while before they could let it go and move forward? The universe says, just celebrate the fact that you were able to move forward at all. That's a hard thing to do. The Six of Wands, the universe is like, there's no such thing as like wasted time or, oh, you should have already known this. Just be proud of yourself for having learned whatever lesson you needed to, and be proud of yourself for having the strength and the courage to move forward. That's the hard thing to do. It's hard to change. It's hard, especially if Cancerian had a lot of love for someone who wasn't particularly truthful, and they had to sort out truth from lie, fact from fiction, and then have the courage to leave one chapter of their life behind in order to embrace the unknown. The universe is just like, y'all should be clapping for this Cancerian. This Cancerian did a damn good job. Cancerian, you deserve, like some kind of cake or something with your name on it. We got a 5 of Cups sideways. The universe is reassuring our Cancerian that sometimes, come on, this is a card that's full of kind of like wishing wells, which aren't real, unicorns, which aren't real. And that we can be really sad when we imagine something is going to be like too good to be true. And then we're sad over the illusion of it. But the whole point is it was an illusion in the first place. So I kind of feel, this is not to insult our Cancerian, but perhaps the connection that they thought they were going to have with someone, perhaps it was too mystical. It was like, oh my God, this person is supposed to be the other half of my soul. It's supposed to be this and it's supposed to be that. And we're supposed to be perfectly in sync. And then it wasn't any of those things. And in fact, it could have been exactly the wrong person for them. And the universe is just saying, just again, celebrate having the breakthrough of, we don't have to mourn the loss of something that never really was real. But what we should do is celebrate the realization of what is real versus what was illusion. And so I just kind of feel like this is very reassuring. I'm not saying that Cancerian was like, living in la la land or something like that. But I mean, love is kind of, romance is a little bit always like la la land, when you first fall for somebody, especially, it's like they can do no wrong. And, the person that we care about is just the sun rises and sets on them. And, we all go a little bit bonkers, when we're in love. And sometimes if there's not also a groundedness to it, it can end up being just pure like lust or pure infatuation. Or if somebody lies to us to pretend to be perfect and we get tricked and fooled into thinking that it's so perfect, which is kind of what I think happened here with Cancerian. There was an element of lies and trickery here. So I'm going to say that no wonder the universe is like, give yourself a pat on the back. You just broke through a very well-crafted, persona that they presented to you of perfection. Of course, that would have been hard to, wrap your head around, someone who's not telling the truth, someone who's a pure illusion. And then, of course, it would be doubly hard to feel sad that, you mean it's not real? That could have been really hard for Cancerian, but to their credit, they had the courage to go ahead and walk away from it and to go ahead and stand on their own 2 feet and be on terra firma and go after the next chapter of their life. Universe, what do you have to say about the next chapter of Cancerian's life with that potential King of Wands? We have got a 3 of Cups sideways, a Knight of Swords, and a Judgment. This is a complete, this is a phoenix rising from the ashes. So this is a complete next opportunity, second chance for Cancerian to have a whole different chapter of life, and have it work out very differently. But the universe still says, but don't imagine that somebody is going to be perfect in every way. Still be very discerning. That 3 of Cups says, Cancerian, this person may not be the end all be all. Cancerian may have more than one great romantic partner still on the horizon. So it says, don't trade one like illusion of like, oh, I met my forever person. Oh shit, no, they turned out to be a liar. Okay, that's over. But hey, now I've met this new King of Wands and they're really wonderful. So they must be the best of the best. The universe is just reminding Cancerian that this could be a very important connection for sure. And it could be wonderful. And it could be just what Cancerian needs. It's just what they're calling in for themselves at this point in time. But even then, don't imagine that there's only one amazing or potentially right person for us. Maybe it's the right person at the right time. Because this keeps saying there are other, come on a planet with 8 billion plus people on it. We can't possibly imagine that there's not a multitude of people that could be fabulous for us. So really, it's like the right time and the right space and the right phase of our lives, perhaps. And I think the universe is just gently letting Cancerian know that, sure, this could be wonderful. And it could really, like, bring back some trust in love or some trust in people. But do know, Cancerian, that that's probably not the only love story still on the horizon for Cancerian. So it may be Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, but maybe only for right now. So I don't know. It just kind of, I like the fact that the universe is reminding Cancerian that there's many avenues in life, and Cancerian is way more dynamic, perhaps, than what they give themselves credit for. They have much more life to live, many more adventures to have. And as far as partnership goes, yes, they could have a really wonderful partnership with a King of Wands. But even then, it doesn't mean that that's the only partnership on the horizon for them. So I kind of think that the universe is being a little bit mysterious, being like, yeah, have a good time with them. They're great. We'll touch base with you again in 3 months or 3 years or something. And you just might have some more surprises, Cancerian. That's how I look at this. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys so much. I will try to edit out the barking. Thank you for all my night owls. And I'm so sorry for the little interruption there. AC, Empress Unicorn, Eliana, Travis Rhodes. Thank you so much, you guys. It's really great to see all of you. Ethel Holo, hi, honey. Rachel's Magic. I know. Hi, Pauline. Thanks again, everybody. Lots of love. I will see you on the other channel in a bit. Bogdanka, hi, sweetie. Bye, guys. Take care. Thank you so much, Rachel's Magic.